Hey Scorpio, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. We're going to start off with an overall for the reading. We're going to do an I-ching reading over here, but we're going to first pull one of these cards from this deck. I'm just going to cut the deck, pull from the bottom, Three of Swords. I will say that as I was shuffling on the split, there was a King of Cups that showed up a lot, and then there was also a Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles ended up showing up more than the King of Cups. So how I understood that was that there was someone that you deeply cared about, but there's no movement there, or communication. Knight of Pentacles is very non-communicative, lots of plans, no movement. King of Cups, very mature, so emotional maturity might require a lack of movement right here, something like that, but someone with a lot of emotional maturity, but also someone not moving. There's no movement, but plans, dreams, visions. So then taking that, we have Three of Swords, painful situation, painful realizations, painful words spoken. Oh, she needs a nurse's attention right now. Oh, there's a bit of like sudden quickness. And so it's a little bit of an ouch. There's a pinch here. There's a little pinch here. We've got a wound. Oh, we've got a dying bird. Well, this is no good. And some sadness about it. I mean, on the one hand, it's a bird. On the other hand, it's a bird. Oh, but there's communication. Yeah, there's the painful communication. I don't want to say deadly communication, but that's the phrase. There's like, not deadly, but just a mortal wound. Maybe not a mortal wound. The communication itself had like some kind of mortal wound within it. It's like, communication is dead and it's causing a lot of pain. Well, the King of Cups was emotional maturity, and the Knight of Pentacles is like no communication. So it looks like communication might be dead, and that's causing some pain or some worry, maybe some painful realizations. Okay, now we're going to move on to the I-ching. I can feel my hands are already moving to the I-ching here. So we're going to build a hexagram. We're going to throw these coins 6 times. I've got 3 of them, and we're going to throw them 3 coins. And I'm going to throw them 6 times, and we're going to build a hexagram. Hexagram is actually 2 trigrams on top of each other, and each of them is going to have a name. I don't know. I'll pull you through the process. Once you get used to it, it's not very complicated. All right, right off the bat, a dynamic line. We have 3 tails, yang energy that changes to yin. Okay, 2 tails, yin energy. Unchanging. 3 heads. I love dynamic lines. They're so fun to read. That's going to be yang energy or yin energy that changes to yang. Yeah, sometimes I get a little so binary. Okay, 2 tails, more yin energy. 2 heads, yang energy, unchanging. Final toss of the coins. Probabilities all on the table. Everything's possible until now. We deal with probabilities and possibilities in I-ching. I read tarot much the same way as I read I-ching, so it's not going to be too different. So anyway, this is 3 heads. Again, another dynamic line. Love the dynamic line. Yin energy that will be changing to yang energy. So let me get this hexagram figured out. All right, Scorpio. So what we ended up with was the trigram water over the trigram thunder and trigram wind over mountain. So how I read this, we end up with all the segments changing, all 4 sections changing. So we have like emotion, water to me, some sort of essential emotion, changing to some sort of communication or creating change in reality. So there's this emotion turns, we saw that King of Cups in the shuffle, and we've got the 3 of Swords here. So we've got emotion and it's creating change. The emotion is creating tumult and change for us. We also have this thunder changing to mountain. So we have communication or an argument or something a little frightening. It's getting more solidified. It's solidifying. So I found that really interesting. We have something somewhat tangible, water, feelable. We have a feeling going into more of a creating movement, but then we have something kind of loud becoming more like firm and solid. So as I was reading the hexagram and as I was going through my process here, I started seeing something as emotion, an argument coming into maybe an ultimatum, or maybe something very immovable like a mountain. And this wind isn't going to be able to move this. There's not a lot of conversations that can move this mountain. So that's sort of the gist of what I'm seeing. But let's go more into it. So we have our lower two lines, earthly elements. We have passive, pretty settled. Well, it's settling into a passive situation, or there's like, it is what it is sort of what's going on here in the earthly realms. The human element, this is going to be you. You're getting more balance, and there's some sort of initiative or demand you'd like to make, or you've been in a very passive mode. Whatever you want, dear. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. But now as you're coming into balance, I feel like you're making a demand on your environment. You have a right to do that. It's you coming into more balance of like, I've accepted the status quo. I would now like to adjust the status quo. I would like to make an adjustment to this contract. I would like to make an adjustment to this agreement. So, and then we have sort of heaven, intent, the overall idea. Again, that's going from a little bit of a balance space, but sort of there's a divine need for initiative and for movement. I think you're tapping into that, but overall with this reading, I feel like you might be tapping into it, but there is a possibility that you may be coming on too strong, or the feeling behind this, the desire behind this is really strong and is actually putting someone in a defensive mode. And creating an immobility where once there was like just an argument with a lot of feeling to it, now there's a sense of immobility there. So we're going from like something, it went from a movement to a communication, but now something else went from, something else here is like immovable. It was once just a theory, and now it's just like it is. So we have so our first hexagram, 4/3, created hexagram number 3 called retrenchment. Normally we don't need that, but it is informative for the rest of this. So our first dynamic line, straight off the bat, number 1, literal translation, build fences, settle down, appoint helpers. So this is a little bit about a plan solidifying, strengthening your home base, putting up shop, opening up a store, opening up a storefront, opening up even just homemaking. You know, you just like you moved in with someone is kind of what I was seeing here, especially with the cards that came out before. You may have moved in with someone. You're strengthening your home base. You might have like, this could be talking about employees. This could be talking about boundaries. Get a security system, get a housekeeper, hire some housekeeping if you want, appoint helpers. I almost see like a 2 here. I got a sense of a wedding being planned, and like we're gonna move in together. Let's do our the gift registry. We're planning the wedding. We're doing a gift registry. We've hired the photographer, the DJ, all of the typical wedding accoutrements. So there's a sense of settling down and getting into a space. And there's a reason why I'm thinking of I just realized there's a reason why I'm thinking of the metaphor, because the hexagram that this changes to is called progress, but it's favorable for a maiden's marriage. So it's so that's why I'm sort of thinking of like setting up house, but it could be any kind of contract. So like setting up a business, you're gonna have your security camera, you're gonna have maybe a couple employees, or like who's gonna develop your website. So you're setting up shop here somehow, either in a relationship. You might be setting up boundaries too with someone, of just like kind of establishing what relationship is this. There's a sense of just setting something up, like putting out the chairs, arranging the furniture in the living room, moving in together, something like that. Just setting something up for the purpose of longevity, So number 3 is Line number 3 is our second dynamic line. So we read that line. Hunting deer without a guide, one merely gets lost in the woods. The wise would give up. Going meets obstacles. So you have sort of an idea. You've kind of settled in here. There's something you want to do, but like you need a wedding planner is basically what this is. You're going to need a wedding planner, or you're going to need, you want to go on a trip. You're kind of settled in somewhere. You'd like to go on a trip. You maybe, in this case, want a travel agent, something like that. You need a guide here. This is being very clear. And, I-ching for general readings is a little bit interesting. Because, one thing we can do is we can get a little lost in what this is about. That's why I pulled this first card, is so that we can kind of get an idea of what this is about. So it's not like in every area of your life you're going to need a guide and advice. But this is saying appoint helpers, and then without the helpers, it's kind of pointless. You shouldn't be going on this. You need, if you want to be an actor, you're going to need an agent. If you want to go on this trip, you need a guide. And maybe if this is dealing with heartbreak and pain, maybe you need a therapist. And like you're just going to go in circles. This is true, actually, with anything that you're kind of stuck with. If you need an outside expert advice, especially with matters of the heart pain, stuff like that. Therapists can see things and are trained to see things. Not all therapists are perfect and wonderful and for you specifically, but there are plenty out there that do a really good job and can really deal with a variety of people. But you need some help here, is what it's saying. You're going to need some help. Don't try to do this by yourself. You need a mentor. You need something. You need someone that's been here before, or at least has studied people that have been here before, or at least has some sort of statistical understanding of what happens here. You need some advice. And this is not, you might be related to a Virgo or something, because Virgo, I had the same thing. You need some advice here. Don't try to do this by yourself. Deal with this, go through this. Don't go through this by yourself, okay? That you need help is what this is saying. So, what is that about? What are you setting up? Has there been some really painful realizations about, or some shut down communication about? Get some advice, because you're just going to go in circles. You're going to get lost. I'm reminded of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet going around and around the tree in the woods, tracking some heffalump, and it happens to be themselves. Because they're lost, so they're going in circles, and so they just keep seeing their own tracks. Yes. It reminds me of how we pull up memories, and every time we pull up memories, they get a little grimy from our memory fingerprints or something. We get a little grime on them there, and so every time we pull them out, we might be in a certain mood when we pull out this memory, and that mood will color that memory, and then we put the memory back. But now the memory has been affected by the mood we were in last time we remembered it. I mean, it's very disconcerting, honestly, to think about how our memories get messed up. And this is why I love journaling, because I can go back and be like, oh, that's how, maybe I looked back and saw it different ways, but this is how I saw it at the time. So that can be a really useful tool. So it's pointless to try to, this is just saying, don't do this alone. You're setting up shop, you're setting up a home, you've got appoint helpers, and you need a guide. Two very clear signs here. So maybe you didn't already do that. Maybe this is how we got where we're at right now. So, and then our next dynamic line, our last dynamic line, number 6, literally translated, carriages and horses a shuffle, tears flow plentifully. And so the idea behind it is sort of forcing things brings regret. So that's where I'm seeing an ultimatum or something like that. Well, I'm just going to fix this. I've got this heartache. I just got to fix it right now. We can do that by drinking. Drinking's fine, but if it's to fix a heartache, that's a dumb idea. You're just going to make more heartache. It's both the solution and a continuation of the problem. It makes your problem much worse in the long term, but in the short term, it feels pretty decent. Oh yeah, let's do that. That'll make us feel better. So there's something forcing yourself to get over a broken heart, forcing yourself to face something you're really not ready to face yet. It's just going to cause problems. And we already have tears flowing aplenty. So, and this also can relate to the idea of the ultimatum, or something where you tried to force something. You tried to force a cure, forced reconciliation. You set up an ultimatum. You went ahead without an advisor. You did try to plan your wedding by yourself. You did do something without proper consultation or assistance, and here we are. Tears flow aplenty. It kind of got messed up. So we were taking, so that's where I see this like super emotional kind of argument that's solidified into just a bunch of words and it's called retrenchment. It just solidified into a bunch of words and something really immobile, and now we're unhappy. Like, you're trying to set something up, you didn't do it right. Like, you put the bike together, but you didn't read the instructions, and you certainly didn't ask anybody for help. And now you've got a really funky bike that doesn't go, and you're crying on your living room floor, and there's like an extra wheel and 4 extra gears and 12 screws, and you don't know where they go. So that's a little bit looking like what we got going on here. So then the hexagram we changed to is called progress, though. So what happened? We've got some progress here. Did we fix the problem and solve it immediately? No. But this is called favorable for a maiden's marriage, auspicious omen. So where you're at right now, this is a good place to be at. Even though you're tired, you're broken down, it's almost like your come to Jesus moment, or you're like, rock bottom. It's a little bit of a rock bottom moment. This is good. This rock bottom moment where you're sitting on your living room floor with your bike half put together, but it looks like it's fully put together, and you don't know what to do next, and now you've got a flat tire. It wasn't flat, but you thought you were supposed to do this, and then now you've got a flat tire, and you got a broken chain, and this is good. This is good. Yeah, the tears have flowed aplenty. Okay, you got regret. You forced things. You tried to make something happen. You didn't have any of the backup or guides, or you didn't have the instruction manual. You didn't read the instruction manual, something. And we're in this tearful state. But this is great. This is exactly where you want to be. So the whole hexagram progress talks about, like, basically a silly goose that has all these adventures, but they're persistent. They're very loyal to their commitments. They're very loyal, like geese mate for life, right? So there is a lot of loyalty here. There's no giving up, though. So we're still going to stick with our metaphorical bike on our metaphorical living room floor, and we're crying because we didn't read the instructions, but we're committed. We spent a lot of money on this bike, and we're going to put it together. So we got to go back to the beginning, maybe. We got to, like, call our friend to come over. We're not going to start drinking because it's not going to help us put a bike together. We're going to be persistent with this. We're going to retrace our steps if we need to. We understand now that we're a beginner and we actually don't know how to put a bike together. We get that. Now we understand our place in the social order. So there's commitment, there's loyalty, there's a contract to be upheld. You have duties to uphold here, and you're going to uphold them. And you're going to stay committed to this process. And you're going to put this bike together. And you're going to maybe cry the whole time you're putting the bike together, but you're going to put the bike together. You've already made some sort of commitment, or you can make a commitment or a contract. This could be a work situation where you got in over your head and you did something and you didn't ask for the help that you needed. You were supposed to fill out this form, you didn't fill out the form, and now, like, the whole march you were supposed to organize is now an illegal march and everybody's getting arrested. Okay, so now we can understand. That's a funny metaphor. But now you see, like, you've reached rock bottom. You are now committed to, like, oh wait, I think I messed up on this job, and I think I need to, like, go figure out how to do this job properly now. But this is don't quit. Don't quit. So there's strength card all over here. There's don't quit. Yeah, this is a rough spot. This is a rough spot. You had the march anyway, even though you didn't have the permit, because you forgot to get the permit on time. You didn't have a good assistant. You were supposed to get an assistant, but you didn't want to go through that process. So instead you tried to put on everything on your own plate, and some things got missed in the process, and you may have forgotten to get a permit for that, but you went ahead with the march anyway, and now everybody's in jail because it was an illegal march. So ask me how I know about that. So, no, don't. So we have a commitment. We have a contract. You have duties to uphold. You can't quit. But this is you're starting now, again, from a better space. You understand the lay of the land. You've met the mountain. You've met the mountain. And I think you need to talk about the mountain. I think you need to talk about that immovable thing that you have met. It's very emotional. There's a lot of emotion here, dear Scorpio. A lot of, we have referenced tears and emotions multiple times here. So this is a very emotional mountain that you have met. You can't push the mountain. That's what the thing is. That's why it's a mountain. We have this mountain. You can't push the mountain. You can't move it out of the way. You're going to have to you're going to have to ask for help, but remain committed in moving this mountain, right? We say moving mountains, but you want to move a mountain, you're going to have to ask for help. And you now understand your place in the social structure. You need to commit yourself to something. It could even be, right? Speaking of drinking, it could even be something like that, really committing to not doing self-destructive things, or when you meet a challenge, not then harming yourself or doing things that you know aren't good for you. That could be your mountain. Okay. So I'm drawing oracle cards now, apparently. I love how my hands do stuff while my mind is talking to you or making sense of the last thing, and then my hands just kind of do their own thing. So we have play, celebrate, have fun, don't be so serious. And then she's sitting in a big, giant drink. So I thought that was funny that came up, as I keep referencing hitting rock bottom and all these sorts of metaphors. But have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. Okay, so maybe, right, well, that seems kind of rude. Here we are over here crying, and then you're just lighten up a little bit, okay? It's not that bad. What on earth? Just lighten up, relax a little bit, open some champagne. You hit rock bottom. Let's have some champagne to celebrate. So rest, detach from the outcome. I can float with that. I can do that. Detach from the outcome. You tried to force an outcome and you can't. So detach from the outcome. That's more play idea of experiment, explore, do things that are enjoyable without necessarily having them to end up somewhere and result somewhere. And you're setting up shop, but you've met with some obstacles for sure. But if you try to force your way through that mountain, you're just going to regret it. You're going to hate it. It's like a conversation got shut down or something. So play would be just enjoy the person and stop trying to make them be or do something or get somewhere, or just try to enjoy the process. We're in some sort of process, and we don't need, I don't know. Boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? I like this because boundaries came up in build fences, security systems. I even wrote down boundaries while I was I don't know, thinking about it and doing what I do off camera. So boundaries, security systems, who are you, and where does that, who is someone else, right? We're committed to something, but we don't need to either give our whole selves to it, or maybe we're reserving too much, right? Good boundaries can go both ways. The need for good boundaries can be a little more relating, a little more openness, but good boundaries can also be, a little more this is what I will do, this is what I will not do. This is what I want, this is what I don't want. So we have this building fences going on, building better boundaries. And maybe your boundaries were so big, you were no, we're not getting a housekeeper, or I'm not going to have an assistant. I don't want someone in my business. Well, you might need someone in your business. You might need a helper. And by refusing that, you're creating more problems for yourself. So that would be having a huge boundary when in fact, you need to let some assistance come in. That message is very clear. You need to let assistance come in. So you might be keeping out anyone that wants to help. Here we have people grabbing at your attention and your energy, but it can go both ways. As far as boundaries can be way too big, and boundaries can be way too porous. So building better boundaries. building fences. We started off, the whole thing started off with build fences. So boundary issues. So you can have a good time, but just know who you are and who the other person is and where you're right. Having boundaries isn't doing something to someone else, or establishing boundaries isn't saying you can't do this. It's saying, I don't want you to do this to me. You can do that to whoever the hell wants to let you do that. That's fine. Go do that to that. But for me, no. For me, this is my boundary. This is where I want this to stop. So it's not, boundaries aren't doing something to somebody else. They're saying, I don't want that for me. Thanks. That's not who I am. Your dreams need a practical plan. Damn it. I hate that. Just want to lay in bed and dream and then have them all come true. Full moon in Taurus. Don't get lazy. No get rich quick scheme, which is funny. I mean, the Taurus may be the mountain that you've met. There's no get rich quick scheme. You can't. If faith is going to move mountains, but it needs action in order. It needs something. You can't. Maybe you can. I don't know. Try it. See if you can lay in bed and move a mountain and dream. Maybe. But you need a practical plan, is what they're saying. You're not going to get around this mountain. Don't force things. This ultimatum or this forcing things prematurely brings regret idea. If you just start going, whether ready or not, everyone's going to be in tears here. So your dreams need a practical plan. How are you going to move this mountain? How are you getting around this obstacle? How are you going to deal with this problem that has come up in your life? And this is saying very clearly, there's not a get rich quick scheme. You can't just skip around it. You can't just jump around it. There's no elevator in this building. There's no, there's not a quick, easy way to do that. You're going to have to be committed to this process. You have to be committed to the process because it's not a quick, easy thing. Then we have Sea Witch. I like it and I hate it too because I like it because it's like this. It's like she's practicing. She's not actually going anywhere. She can't go anywhere. She doesn't have a working propeller. She's just dreaming about something. So this is dreamer energy. You got a little companion here though. You're not alone in this dream. You got dreamer energy, but no way to make it happen. So your dreams need a practical plan. This is the dreamer energy. This is reminding you, you gotta build the fence. You can't just draw the fence and imagine the fence. You have to build the fence. You have to, appoint helpers. This is like, but she wants adulthood. This is like you got to be the adult and you got to be committed. I kind of feel like this is like, yeah, playing around doesn't get you anywhere though. She's not going anywhere. She has a dream. She has a vision. She knows what she wants to do, but she's not able to go there. This is saying you have to figure out your way around the mountain. You have to have a practical plan. You can't just be like, yeah, I want to do that someday. Yeah, that sounds fun someday. With our little metaphor here, like, oh, someday I'll quit drinking. I'm sure I will. Yeah, someday. Think about it a lot. I mean, I don't know. Like, drinking itself isn't a problem. It's just the way people relate to it sometimes. So, or like, yeah, I really want that bike. And it's that bike. There it is. Like, you got to have a practical plan. This is over and over again. Have a practical plan. Stay committed. Stay committed, stay loyal, understand your place, understand who you are in the situation. You're not an expert bike builder. You're an amateur bike builder. Understand that. And then now that we understand that, we can go back to restarting something that went a little wrong. Bloom, listen, interconnectedness, intuitive. This is very intuitive, which is reminding me like intuition with all of this. Intuition is a trust, but verify. Situation, you can intuitively put the bike together, but you probably also need to verify that it is put together properly or something like that, right? But there is, oh, she's sassy. She has a sassy little comment for me. What is it? There's a lot of value here. There's a message that you're hearing. You might need, like, with boundaries, you might need, like, psychic boundaries. Psychic boundaries, possibly. What's yours? What's not yours? What's your issue? What's someone else's issue? intuiting a way through something, listening for something, being connected to a loving network. Growth, but the memory of winter. Value out of difficulty. The information you're going to get from going through this difficulty is going to be invaluable. The way your understanding is going to grow from this. Like if we're talking about the bike metaphor, the way your understanding about bikes are put together is going to be incredible. If your bike breaks down, you will know exactly how to fix it now because you put it together yourself. You built it from the ground up and you understand it inside and out. And the information you get from this process, even though it's painful and difficult, is going to serve you. You're also going to be building connections with other people through this process. When you get the help you need, these are connections that you need. Are we done? What else? But it'll always bother you. It may always bother you how it began, how this process and these connections began. There'll always be a little pebble in your shoe. Not forget the difficulty you went through and have been through and are possibly in right now. Yeah, you need a little protection. You need to protect yourself a little bit, but gently. You don't need to be overprotective. It's just a gentle, casual self-protection, like the fence that doesn't look weird when people have fences. Doesn't look weird when people have security systems. It's just very casual. You know, we're putting up a picket fence. We're not putting up a concertina wire fence, right? Okay, she's gonna be fierce forever. I don't know how. This is like, there's always gonna be some fierceness associated with this situation. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah. What do we got here? Okay. She pulled me in. She had some stuff to say to me. All right. Anything from this deck? Yes, but we're not gonna take all of it. Oh my gosh. Are we supposed to take all of it? I don't think so. We're 32 minutes into this. Okay. Bobcat spirit, life is a mystery. Bobcats, my favorite wild cats. Life is a mystery. Maybe there's a Bob here. Do you know a Bob? Bobcat, life is a mystery for sure. Hawk spirit, let spirit be your guide. So, spirit's got a vision. Ooh, it knows what you want. Ooh, let spirit go hunting for you. I like that. Well, you need a guide. Don't give up without a guide. And then we have let spirit be your guide. Don't give up without, you'll give up without a guide. You need a stronger spiritual connection. That's what the message is. I don't know anything about your personal spiritual connection, but let spirit be your guide. You need to just give up if you don't have a guide. Without guidance, you'll get lost. You need a spiritual community, I think, or some sort of spiritual practice here. Life is a mystery, for sure. All right, and then let's do some chiromancy. We're going to talk, this whole thing is basically chiromancy. Like, what are the synchronicities that are jumping out at you? So, you guys, this is so cool. Butterfly spirit transformation. And I just want to point out, we have the pearl here. We have Venus in the clamshell. Something like, pearls come from oysters, not clams, right? I'm now confused. But we have the butterfly here. We have change, transformation, butterfly spirit transformation. But see, I don't know if you can see this, but these are the same card. that's the pearls for me. It's the pearls, 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 the beauty out of difficulty. This bike's going to be awesome once you get it going. Once you get it going, the bike you're putting together is going to be gorgeous. So bloom and transformation. So we're looking for clams, we're looking for butterflies. These things will be guides for you. Pearls. Pearls might be a very important guide here, I think. Okay. Thank you. Okay. She's happy now. This is the one that's been really strong here. Pearls. This is a really emotional card as well, right? It's a cups card. It's a water card. All right. I hope that was helpful. Join me over on Vimeo. It's a little bit of a cost, but it's not too much. It's just a token for a more traditional tarot spread. And I'll talk to you later. Ciao.